I'll just start it, whatever. 71.
71.
So, yeah, I busted through. There was, like, one weekend where, like, I went out with some friends, like, one night, and then otherwise I just fucking like, sat on the couch and just watched. And it's so easy to binge anime because they're, like, 22 episodes. They're, like, 22-minute episodes.
They're short.
And so you just, like, yeah, you can just crank through those.
Yeah. It's a pretty good one. Like, as far as, like, popular mainstream animes go, it's pretty good.
I will say, the one thing I'll say about My Hero is that it's, like, the cheesiest show I've ever watched in my freaking life. But I have a love-hate relationship with how cheesy it is. Like, on one hand, I'm like, this is almost too much. But at the same time, it makes me really happy. I'm like, this is really great.
How many animes have you seen through to the end?
I think only Attack on Titan.
Okay.
And Dragon Ball Z. I've watched, like, all of Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah. So your sample size is 3. But
yeah.
Most of that genre of, like, shonen fighting type animes, they're kind of like that, you know.
That's
they're
true.
Super super cheesy, but
that's true.
But that's why you like it. It's kind of like cheesy, and then you'll not apply it to your own life at all, but it's kind of like fun to witness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, it's I guess like Pokemon was like that too.
Yeah,
Shonen, Shonen is very much
Pokemon,
like
Dragon Ball Z. They're all kind of like that.
Although Goku was like a really funny. He's like a really funny protagonist. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like sometimes sometimes my complaint with Shonen is that the character's like almost too just like
caricaturish.
Yeah, like they're just like gotta be the best, gotta be the hero, and like they're just very bland. Not bland, but just like very basic.
Yeah.
Versus like in like My Hero, for instance, like Bakugo has a way deeper emotional like kind of mess up in his head.
Usually
they're
a lot
like
more
characters
pretty
fucked up.
one-dimensional.
Yeah, exactly. That's the word I was going for. One-dimensional. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Goku is pretty. It's pretty
Goku's
one-dimensional
hilarious.
Too. I mean, he's reliably the protagonist, so that's good.
Yeah. Just eats and makes jokes. It's
and just beats bad guys.
Yeah.
And he's super jacked too.
Dude, that was my. I remember there was one summer when I binged the crap because I watched it on the Cartoon Network whenever it was on.
Yeah.
But I never like actually sat down and watched it all, which was honestly a bitch because at that time I didn't realize that like you could find websites that said like what are the filler episodes and skip them.
Yeah.
I didn't do that. So I watched all of them, and it was so frustrating because you'd like watch like 5 episodes, like nothing happened here. Like because that one when you first meet not Vegeta, Frieza on the planet, and the planet's gonna explode, and like it's gonna explode in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then 10 episodes go by,
and
you're like, unless time has literally stopped, there's no physical way the planet shouldn't have blown up like 5 episodes ago.
It's anime physics, where basically they're moving so fast that the episodes have to be like super super like nothing happens for 10 episodes, but it's actually 20 minutes because they're just like
yeah. You know why they do that, by the way?
It's like it's easier, right? Like it's cheaper in animation style.
No. In terms of like why they have those filler episodes.
Oh, why they extend it? It's because wait, I'm gonna take a guess. Is it because they haven't the manga hasn't released yet?
Correct.
Yeah.
And so they could either like just stop making episodes, but they make money every time they make an episode, so they just extend it for as long as they can until the manga like catches up.
Yeah, they're usually really shitty, but there's every now and then there's like a funny filler episode, and you're kind of like, oh, that's like yeah, it's memorable.
Yeah. The My Hero movie was good. It was just like very filler.
Yeah.
It was like I didn't need to watch that. I mean, it was cool, but
yeah.
Everyone go see it.
I'm glad you're getting into it though. Like there's some anime that's really good, and I'll recommend you some later.
Yeah, well, let's talk about it at the end. Let's talk about
anime.
I love it.
What's up? What episode is it now?
It's episode 6.
Welcome
everybody.
All right, this is your entertainment business review. Not the most busy week.
No.
In the entertainment business, but there was some news that was kind of shocking.
Alec Baldwin shot someone.
No, when I first saw
Alec Baldwin murdered somebody.
I know that was the headline, right? Like I saw a ping on my phone, and it was like Alec Baldwin kills cinematographer on a set, and I'm like,
yeah,
what?
Which is freaking nuts. I mean, we shouldn't be laughing about it because it super sucks. Like that's terrible.
I'm laughing at the
But
fact
like,
that they just left that headline and then didn't give any other like
context,
right?
Yeah, it's just like somebody's dead on their set.
Yeah, and it's Alec Baldwin of all
Yeah.
people to have done it.
Yeah, very strange.
But yeah, if you didn't hear the story, he was on set filming Rust, which I think is it's like a real life. Oh no, it's kind of like based on a real story about the Flint water situation in Michigan.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know anything about it honestly until this.
I think that's what it is. But he's on set. Someone doesn't change, or there's a loaded gun on set, which is. First of all, why is there a loaded gun?
So I've been kind of following it. So apparently what happens is, and this could be incomplete, I don't know. The story changes like every day. So, but from what I understand, it's apparently the set crew will, like before the actors come on or like just for fun, they'll put in a live round and just shoot it like cans.
Wait, for fun?
Yeah, for fun or just like when they have breaks or something, they'll load the guns and they'll like put a can like all the way back and they'll shoot at it just like for practice, just like shooting around. And then when they give it back to the actors, like they take out the shit and they give it back to the actors. And apparently somebody just forgot to take it out. Then so they gave it to Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin was like practicing and shot at the camera.
How did someone not think they had to triple check that thing?
I don't know. And now they're petitioning. Insane. Now they're petitioning for I don't know who they are, but somebody's petitioning for like just not having live guns on set ever. Which I honestly read that I was like, why is that not a rule to begin with?
I think that's an artistic decision. Yeah, it's an artistic decision. They're thinking that in order to have like a realistic muzzle flash, you need a prop gun with fake rounds. You need a real gun with fake rounds versus a prop gun, which doesn't look the same. Right. But with CGI and like effects, like I don't see why you would need a real gun on set. Yeah. And there's like only been how many incidences of this? Like 3 deaths due to gun.
I have no idea, honestly. I mean, honestly, I knew like accidents happening on set. There was somebody on like the set of like Riverdale that died. For
really?
Like a stunt or something in Canada one time.
Huh.
But like it's stunt people. You're like, all right. I mean, that sucks, but that's obviously a risky job. Like they kind of know what they're getting themselves into. Well, but for the cinematographer and the director to get shot, is by the lead actor is freaking crazy.
It's nuts. I mean, John Wick had so many guns and they not a single accident like to that scale too, right? But so the reason why I was saying earlier that the timing seems sus is that a week right before this, there's this huge walkout from the union, the IATSE union. Crew members just like didn't go to work. Yeah. And so I think the connection here is that the regular crew didn't turn up, one day for shooting or whatever. So the producers ended up hiring a different crew to fill in that wasn't unionized. So some of these folks may not have been part of the union, or they're just inexperienced, or they're just coming into a new production that they didn't go through. Yeah, midway through, and they didn't have the same processes in place. So they maybe weren't as professional, or they weren't as protected, or whatever. Yeah. But they weren't practiced, and this ended up happening. And then now they're saying, this is the real dangers for being on set, and why it's so risky for crew members, and blah 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 blah.
That's interesting.
It's just it's all happening at once, and like, I mean, I don't think there's any bigger conspiracy to that, but it's just like there's the issue, and the most extreme form of that issue happens 1 week later.
Right. It's hard, honestly, as a studio, because like for the people below the line, like they're pretty easily replaceable, because like if you're like talking like a grip, like there are plenty of comparable grips that you can find for cheaper in LA. Well, they get paid like shit, and they work shitty hours.
Yeah, they're grinding away. But to be clear, the cinematographer and the director are not below the line, so it's kind of, I mean, that's why I feel like it's having like a lot more press, because it's above the line people that were
injured. There was below the line people that was the reason blamed. Why.
Yeah.
The blamed purposely? I mean, blamed like rightfully, you think?
Yeah.
I don't know the details.
Sure. So what they're saying is the AD, the guy who was supposed to, the assistant director who was supposed to like prepare the props and all that. Yeah. He was fired from a job in 2019 for a live gun that injured somebody as well.
Are you kidding me?
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy that the exact
dude
situation?
made the same mistake twice.
Yes. And he was fired from that job, and he was still hired here. I guess
That's
like
ridiculous.
if you have a producer who's pushing the project to continue, and they're pushing to say, "Hey, get a crew immediately," shit like this is bound to happen.
That's interesting. I don't know how you fix that problem. I mean, obviously, as a studio, you should just pay people a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like I kind of get it from a studio perspective. I mean, they're a business, so they're just like, I mean, most of the time that never happens. So
like, it was a complete control issue. Like there was no quality control in that. Like that just seems like a process thing that, like if there's a live gun, then check 3 or 4 times that it's not loaded and don't take it out and shoot cans in the back.
Right. Or just like, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to blame Alec Baldwin because I'm sure he feels freaking terrible right now.
Yeah.
But like, it sounded like it wasn't part of a scene. He was just kind of testing it, which means like, why would you test it by aiming it at your freaking cinematographer or director? Like if it was a part of scene, I get it. Because, well, if he was part of scene, he probably would have shot it at another actor. Yeah. So like, there's no reason why he would have ever shot it, like pointed the gun. He shouldn't have pointed the gun. Like maybe the actor should also get some training in terms of like, even if it is a blank round, you should still be careful. There's actually a great, I don't know how I found this, but there was a great clip of Will Smith with like some of his posse, and they had a bunch of guns, and one of his friends like picked up the gun and like pointed, or was like just kind of like picking it up, and then Will just goes boom and like slaps it down. He's like, dude,
don't.
Like, first rule of owning holding a gun is never to aim it at people, even if the safety is on, even if there's not, like, you just never know.
That's the
which
right
is
move.
like,
and I feel
Smith
terrible for laughing, but it's just
so
a strange, insane situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's move on from that.
Yeah. He'll be fine.
So let's do a quick update on the Dave Chappelle situation. So last time we talked about this, there was a walkout. Yeah. Right.
So there was going to be a walkout. So the walkout happened after we talked. And Ted Sarandos kind of went back. No, he didn't go back on what he said before. So he issued the 2 memos. And some people were suspended, not because of them pushing back, but because they like went to a meeting, and then another one, I don't know if we covered this, but another one got fired actually because she shared like actual data on
Cardinalson number 1.
Yeah,
at Netflix.
which I honestly like, I do respect that move because like Netflix, like the way Netflix measures,
it's proprietary information.
Yeah, it's totally proprietary. So like, the fact that they were releasing that to like Bloomberg is pretty messed up. Like they should have absolutely been fired. But they also went to like how much they paid Chappelle. And apparently there was debate within the company itself about like whether like just that title by itself actually made Netflix money. Like now they're like, okay, well actually as a business decision, it actually wasn't good, based purely on like the value that it generated on the platform and then what it costs. I find that hard to believe, and also I think you can't also just think about that one title in a vacuum too. Like it was part of a deal with Dave Chappelle, and like if you want to be the home of comedy and you want to entice other comedians, the fact that you have Dave Chappelle proves legitimacy. So even if like one title isn't profitable by itself, which I don't really believe, but even if it wasn't, it's still Dave Chappelle, and it gives legitimacy at Netflix. Yeah, so it's still worth it.
All the streaming companies have their own way of measuring like economic impact of a specific content, and like when you're a subscription business, obviously you can't attribute it perfectly, but just the fact that it was in the top 10 and it was like viewed by so many people, it had to have been beneficial to them.
Yeah, I find it very hard to believe.
And this is one of those situations where like bad press is still press. It's
more people definitely watched it because of this, which just kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I think the what they're protesting is not totally illegitimate. It's just the way they're going about it. It's not actually helping their cause, it feels like. It feels like it's separating them more from people. I don't know. I mean, that's where we get into like the politics of it all. But if we go back to like the business sense, like Ted is definitely pushing an artist's like freedom of expression thing first, which I think is going to be in the long term very good for Netflix. Even if people won't
Yeah.
say it, like out in artists won't. I guarantee you there are directors and comedians and actors
Yeah,
and
they're
stuff
like,
out there that are like,
Dodged
if
the bullet in
I,
that one.
yeah, like, and they know like if I do something creatively that's kind of like pushing the edge, like I know Netflix is gonna have my back, which is
Yeah.
I think going to be very valuable for them.
So he walked back his comments, or no?
So Ted walked back his comments in that, not that he like said the decision was bad, it was the way he like communicated it. So he's like, I shouldn't have said like,
He was a bit callous to their plight, essentially.
yeah, like he didn't fully like at least he didn't make it seem like he fully appreciated like how much they were struggling. And he just pointed to like the business stats, being like, this is why we're doing the decisions that we're making, kind of explaining it from a business sense and not being a little bit more empathetic, which, you know, I mean, at this point it's just all fair. You know, it's all kind of trying to make this is just damage control at this point.
Yeah. And like, I think what they're saying is that there's certain jokes that have a high chance of causing harm.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
And so, I mean, well, I guess what I'm trying to do is like follow that thread, right? So if they start to say that this is problematic, then what else is problem? Like they're gonna have
It's a slippery slope.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope, and they're gonna have to go back
comedy.
Yes, especially for comedy, right?
Yeah.
And then the whole point of it is to push boundaries and satire society. So
that's what satire does. Like, it's the whole point. Like, and
So
it's like the purest meritocracy in entertainment, honestly. So like, it's either people laugh or they don't. So like, it's purely a meritocracy. So if people are laughing, that's why like I think what's stupid about telling comedians what's funny or not is that it's totally subjective to you.
Yeah.
But if you want to take the objective approach, it's whatever makes the majority of people laugh. That's the objective approach to comedy. So if Dave's doing that special and most people in the audience are laughing, that means it's objectively funny. Maybe subjectively to you, it's not that funny.
Yeah.
But for most people, it's funny because it's clearly working and the audience was actually laughing.
That's why I think what they're really doing is trying to say that like there's forms of comedy that should no longer exist. That's kind of one of them. That's what they're alluding to. Yeah, I mean,
just a slippery slope.
Dave,
you do there's
Yeah, so Dave Chappelle released a video, I think on like Twitter or something.
I did see that.
Yeah. And he's
not going to bend the knee.
himself. He's not going to bend the knee.
Yeah, I mean, of course. But I did find it interesting when he was talking about his documentary and how people are like a lot of film festivals aren't touching it.
Yeah.
Which is tough. Like,
I found that interesting. So a film festival that's not going to touch it, what's in it for them to not touch it?
I think just too much negative press, I guess. Like they just like the I think it's just the pros and cons. Like they probably evaluated it was like, it's just like having his documentary here is not going to be in our best interest enough to take away the negative backlash of. I don't necessarily know if that's true.
Yeah.
But clearly they're doing it.
That's what I was gonna say. Like I tend to question whether these film festivals have the data wherewithal and like the staff to be able to say, look, based on like what happened to Netflix, we think that the economic impact of bringing on Dave Chappelle's documentary is going to be way lower than if we actually include it. Like that's just a PR move, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's because, honestly, the people who support Dave are probably not as loud as the people who are against Dave. So, which means that just the negative press just tends to get amplified. And regardless of whether, like, I'm sure that film festival would definitely have more attendees if they had the Dave festival there. And it's also, like,
I was made aware of it because of that.
Yeah. And I also don't know what the documentary is about, but it sounds really interesting. And, like, probably actually I kind of
you know what $1,000 says that his documentary is going to be about this whole arc, the story arc of Dave Chappelle telling transgender jokes
probably and I actually watched it again like a couple days ago.
I did too.
Yeah, and there's so many good messages in there like that are like
that's why his conditions right, he was like, look, I'll meet with you guys under 3 conditions. One, that you watch the whole thing from start to finish.
Right.
Because he does tie it up with a bow at the end of it, right? And what were the other two? It's like, you watch it.
You have to watch the whole thing.
Yeah, you have to watch the whole thing, and I'll dictate the time and place.
Yeah.
And some other person that criticized me is not funny.
Oh, yeah. She like
That was just
Hannah
kind of a
Gadsby
dig.
or something.
Yeah.
It was kind of a dick. I mean, it was just
Yeah.
a joke. I've
Yeah.
never seen her. I never even heard of her, so I wouldn't even know. But I'm
Yeah.
sure he has never even watched her. To be honest, it was probably just a joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. The whole situation is tough. But I
Yeah,
think,
and it's ongoing. I mean, to be continued.
I can't believe
This
it's
is a new
still happening.
saga.
Can people just like get over? Like, I don't know. I mean,
So to play devil's advocate, right? We could say, okay, people just get over it, but no. I mean, this is their life. This is
yeah,
their life and potential harm that's coming them way because of it.
right.
Yeah. No real solution.
Yeah,
But in a more positive news,
yeah. it's so
what a
political.
what a great segue.
All right, what's the segue? What's next?
So let's look
Oh,
at
yeah.
earnings for the week. So
Yeah.
the two big ones, media earnings, AT&T and Netflix released their Q3 earnings.
Q3. Yeah. So overall,
Not bad.
pretty mixed. Yeah, Netflix's was pretty positive.
Yeah.
Um,
So my question for their release was, how do they continue to like increase ARPU as a subscription business like quarter over quarter? Is it because they're changing prices in new like regions? Like, are they starting to?
no, it can't be because most regions are less. Like
They're
actually,
less, and the ones that
yeah.
they're entering into are like lower income regions too. So I don't
100%.
understand how are they increasing their ARPU like this?
Honestly, it's probably there might be some legacy subscriptions that people are stuck on that they're actually getting off. But I agree. I there has to be a reason why Netflix's ARPU isn't in the United States or Canada. It's just straight like $15.
Oh, you know what? Maybe we should have checked this, but is their ARPU measured in terms of months or annual?
I think the ones they report is quarterly. They give you an Excel in their financials. They actually give you Netflix. I actually really love how they report earnings. It's very like
Data heavy.
no, honestly, it's like super simple. It's they give you an Excel spreadsheet with their 3 financial statements. They outline subscribers like very nicely. It's very interesting actually. They're a lot more transparent than a lot of the entertainment companies these days. But I agree with you. Like even the United States, like I'm looking at it now, like their ARPU has gone up from last what was it, like year over year?
Huh.
It's been like a 10% growth.
Is that
From,
ARPU
like,
per
10
month or per year? Because I can understand if it's like the average lifetime of a subscriber is maybe extending, so it's causing it to.
No, I think my guess is that at the end of every actually wait. Okay. Defined as streaming revenue divided. Okay, well that's not.
Yeah, that's where you have to look at the fine print. What's
Yeah.
the calculation say?
So it's streaming revenue divided by the average number of streaming paid memberships divided by the number of months in that period.
Okay.
So the annual so it's annualized? I'm too tired to like, figure out what that means. I mean, I thought they would just do at the end of every quarter. They'd just be like, what's the ending subs?
Yeah.
It must be the average. They must do so it's the average number of streaming paid memberships over the number of months in the period. So they must just do the average number of streaming paid memberships over the course of 3 months, and they use that and divide that by the revenue, and then they get the ARPU. What I don't understand is that if, like, let's say Netflix is, I forget what exactly the price is of a Netflix subscription. Well, the reason why the reason why it's going up must be
We're
because
getting there.
we're getting there because they have 3 different memberships. So they have
Their
have
tiers.
they have the tiers.
Okay.
And so what an increase in ARPU must mean is that more people are doing the premium tier.
Okay. That makes sense.
That has to be what it is.
We did it here.
Yeah, that took a little bit too much longer than it should have. But that has to be it.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they control that or how they're doing that. You could see if they start actually being strict on passwords, which I don't know if they're ever going to really do.
No, that's baked into their calculations. Like they know the average number of profiles per account and blah blah blah, and they've done the math on that.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that was interesting was they start to talk more about like gamifying and doing gaming and like leaning into potential areas of gaming focus. So like
Yeah.
Squid Game is like the most gameable type of property that you can
so easy.
possibly do, right?
And to their credit, they're going quick. Like they set
Yeah.
up, so they set up in something in Koreatown like today. I thought I saw something.
There was a marketing thing, yeah.
Yeah, so they're going in on it, which I
Yeah.
respect them for moving quick because they really moved quick.
Well, it's right because like the adults, they spend something like an average of like 6 hours per day, like watching TV or watching a screen or some shit.
Yeah.
And the younger crowd spends only like 2 hours, but the rest of that time period that they're using for leisure is like on games or other things.
Yeah.
So it makes sense for them that if they want to keep a younger audience engaged, they're going to move into things that they're already interested in.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's smart. They're clearly not just a content company. They're just like they're a media company.
Right.
Right. So
Well, that's
they're doing the right thing.
That's what I'm interested in seeing where they go because they can't just stay I think they want to do is stay a purely subscription model, and then based on that, but they don't they can still be a subscription model, but then the question goes down to okay, so they're getting into games, and then from a storytelling perspective, are they only getting into would they ever get into live events? Like, would they get into sports? Right? Like, would they get into other types of content that's not the stuff that they're doing right now?
Yeah.
Because they show this in their earnings report every time that 60% of America still watches cable and broadcast television.
Yeah.
So they're like, there's plenty of room to grow, but they don't take into account that all these people are used to paying less for ads. So they don't mind that, which Netflix doesn't do. And a lot of them are probably getting cable because two things. A, they actually like the linear experience, so they can just jump in and just turn to a channel.
Yeah, that's me.
And I know my dad will just put on ESPN and they'll just be on in the background all day. He likes that. Versus if he was on Netflix, they wouldn't have stream. But you'd have to constantly choose an episode. So you don't have that casual background programming like ESPN.
Yeah.
But then also, live sports. That's going to be huge.
I do think about why they don't. That's for sure a conscious decision because their technology has come far enough that
they
can
get in the
easily
ad
do
sales
that.
business.
Yeah.
I feel like they don't want to deal with ad sales, which I don't blame them because you have to. That's hard to build out.
Yeah.
Is it harder than games?
But it's so
I don't
lucrative.
think so, but
it's so lucrative.
it's super lucrative. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess because then you're gonna have to deal with content providers, ad revenue share, and all that kind of stuff, and they just don't want. They want to keep it closed within just subscription. They can control that, right?
Yeah, and it complicates their strategy because, once you have an ad-based platform and an SVOD, like an AVOD versus an SVOD, now you have to think about the paywall because now you think about okay, with AVOD, what is AVOD? How much money are you trying to gain on that, or is it more of a funnel to convince people to be a subscriber? And once you've decided that, now you have to decide with that strategy how much of your content is going to be, over or under the paywall. So a lot of companies will do if you wanted to watch, I don't know, I'll just do Stranger Things, for instance, if Netflix had ads, maybe the first 3 episodes of Stranger Things is available for free with ads, and then if you want to watch the rest, you have to subscribe.
Yeah, that's never going to happen in the U.S. because I mean,
I don't think so either. I don't think Netflix wants to deal with those problems, and I think it dilutes Netflix's brand. So I don't really blame them for that.
Yeah,
it would just we've all gone to Hulu's website and be and they've given you their 20 plans, and you're like. What the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, I also would be pissed if I went on there, watched 1 or 2 episodes, and that's it. And they're like, "Oh, you have to subscribe." And that's just something that pisses me off. It's the same thing when I try to watch The Office on the free version of Peacock. It's
yeah, I don't know what Hulu does. I feel like everything's on Hulu.
No,
it just has ads.
They have some. There are different tiers of content too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's weird, like, cause you
Yeah,
just
I
get into
have
this
a
problem.
Hulu subscription, but I couldn't watch The Martian for some reason. And I was like getting so worked up at home because I saw like half of it on the plane. I'm like, fuck, I gotta finish The Martian.
That's the worst when you watch a movie on the plane and
Yeah,
like,
and
you
you
can't
can't finish it. So and then I'm like, okay, I gotta watch it. And then I looked on my phone. It's on Hulu. I'm like, great, I have Hulu, and I click on it. And they're like, your plan does not include this movie.
I've definitely been there before. Yeah,
I'm like, what the fuck?
it's a bummer. And it's also confusing because they have stuff that's like only available when you like buy the extension. Like so, like they'll have like a Showtime show,
Yeah.
and it'll be like, oh, it's available on Hulu if you get the Showtime add-on. I'm like, what the?
Yeah.
Now you're just complicating everything.
That's the
Like,
problem
So
with
it's not
this.
really on Hulu.
Yeah, that's the problem with the add-on business. Is like people are just generally confused about where shit is.
Right.
And
like most people would not understand when AT&T came out and was like, we lost all these subscribers because we got off Amazon Prime channels. Most people are like, what the fuck is an Amazon Prime channel?
unless one company like completely like corners that market, the value of it is still confusing to consumers. But yeah, so let's move on to the AT&T earnings. So I think they also beat the street as well.
They did. I think the general consensus, they lost subscribers. I don't know about overall, but I think they still added subscribers. If you
HBO
combine-
Max.
Huh?
HBO Max.
Yeah, HBO Max. I think they actually net added subscribers because of international. Like they're expanding internationally.
Yeah.
But they lost U.S. subscribers, and that was mainly because they got off the Amazon Prime channels, which was always going to be an issue, honestly, because they had HBO tied to like cable packages.
They
and
knew
stuff.
that was coming too. Like they intentionally shot their foot in order to control their subscribers.
Yeah.
Because they don't, in that model, HBO does not control their own consumers' data. Right, it lives on Amazon and it lives in Roku. It lives in the other like Hulu.
Right, they want off, so they can get everything.
Yeah, so it's I think there's only a select number of streaming services that could do that and basically say like fuck you to the distribution channel and have their brand be strong enough that they're gonna recoup all of that.
Yeah,
only a couple can do that, and HBO I think is one of them. But that means that they're sacrificing the short term subscriber gains for long term.
Which is probably the right move, honestly. I mean, especially for them, like especially when you're competing, like they're on the cusp. Like I think like Peacock and Viacom are probably. I don't think they really have a shot.
They are below the cusp.
Yeah, like they should honestly just give up and be arms dealers and just live with that.
Yeah.
But HBO Max is one of those where like if they don't invest, it could definitely go to the wayside, and if they do invest, it has a good chance of being in the portfolio that everybody has. It's like they really need to push it now. Like this is like make or break time. Although I looked at that presentation I sent you, the Activate one, they said they expect people to subscribe to like, I think it was like 5.8 streaming platforms per household.
5.8?
Yeah, in like a couple years. It's always expanded. I think it's a little aggressive for them, but they have more data than me.
Yeah.
And
than you personally.
Yeah, definitely than me personally. But
then
then
your family's
also,
not that big.
Nope. But then also, like, I don't know, like 2 years ago, people were like, yeah, there's only going to be like maybe big 2, maybe 3.
Yeah.
Next year it was like, okay, 3, maybe 4. And then this year it's probably maybe 4, maybe 5. Like,
do they expand the definition of household? Is that still the same?
I think so. Like, what do you mean? Like, what would be the
So, like, an individual might subscribe to 3, but if my mom and my dad are going to pay for this and my brother's going to pay for this, maybe we'll share that. So, like, in total, our household might subscribe to, like, 6.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how they define that.
But, I mean, it is continuing to increase, right?
Yeah.
And that's what matters. It's not a zero-sum gain in the sense that, like, you might take from one and then subscribe to another. It's people are continuing to add on top.
Yeah. I think it's eventually going to be like 3, 4, maybe 5. I think it's probably you're going to have like the big 3, maybe the big 4. And then you're just going to have like maybe some niche platforms depending on like your individual, like what you like. But otherwise, I think it's just going to be like Netflix, HBO Max.
Disney Plus. Prime Video.
And Prime. Apple's there. I don't know.
No, like, I would consider that still niche because it's so like their content is so few.
Yeah,
It's not a must.
Amazon and Apple are the weird ones because I don't go on their platforms very much, but they have good shows. They just don't make enough to like. If it was by themselves, I would pay for it. Like I don't pay for either of them. I do pay for Amazon, but I don't pay.
You're not
Prime
paying
Video.
specifically for Amazon Prime Video.
Yeah, I'm not definitely not.
You're paying for your
Amazon.
stuff to get delivered on time.
Exactly. It's just like a nice perk. And I haven't used Amazon Prime Video in a long time, honestly, to watch anything. So
Yeah.
And then Hulu. I mean, yeah, Hulu's gonna turn into Disney Plus adult. Like it has to. I don't know. Or like
Disney
it's gotta
minus.
be something. Because yeah, I was talking to one of my friends about this because, like I can see why they would not want Disney Plus adult because, like it wouldn't be super great for the brands. Like if they had really mature content on a Disney Plus, it'd be like, oh yeah, it's Disney Plus adult though. It'd be like, it'd still kind of be diluting the brands. Like so you kind of want to keep Hulu because it's different.
If you call it Disney Plus adult or something, like that's just going down a different route of like, all right, what does that mean?
Yeah, it sounds kind of sketchy
It
too.
sounds so sketch.
Yeah, I don't know. But I don't know. We'll see. It's interesting how it'll all go.
Yeah. I think people end up with, like 4 or 5 essentials that everyone has, and then there's a couple of your niche ones. Like for me, I have still Shudder because I fucking love horror stuff, but not many people do, right? So
there's a couple of niches that are gonna be sustained.
Crunchyroll, Curiosity Stream, like
Curiosity Stream. Is there like is that a documentary one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So actually, the thing had like so it was like they did a poll for like people who like what specific types of content would people want. It was like anime, documentary, scary. I think one of them was
those are the
faith
ones
too, faith-based.
Yeah. I mean,
Christianity.
I'm not gonna say where I worked, but like that consistently is the one that has like the most staunch fan base. Like
it's the ones
faith
that are like
ones.
small but they're really passionate.
Yeah, small but loyal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So those are going to be the ones that can actually maintain like separately from the big players, but otherwise, and that's only certain genres, right? Like there's never going to be like a comedy only streaming platform, probably, unless
anime is also one of those. Which actually maybe we can go on to our recommendations. So once you finish watching My Hero, I highly suggest One Punch Man. Have you heard of it?
My little brother has been constantly pushing me to watch. Well, the only reason I haven't is because it's not big right now. Well, at least not. I haven't heard a lot about it.
It was huge in like 2015 or some shit. Like
Really?
when I was still in college, like maybe even earlier than that. So it's about
a dude that just like is really overpowered, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's hilarious because of that. It's like, I love maybe 2 very distinct things about anime. When there are strong people that do cool shit, or when it's just funny as well. So like Goku fits that tab.
Goku's perfect.
Yeah, he
so
fits that, and then Saitama, the main guy in One Punch Man, perfectly fits that. But like, it's the funniest anime I've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
you don't expect it to be, but it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. There's a lot of times I like burst out laughing with a lot of anime.
It's no. There's very few times when you actually lull. But in anime it happens more frequently.
I was telling my little brother about this because we were talking about One Punch Man, and I was saying like My Hero is not like traditionally like supposed to be a funny show, although it has a lot of funny moments.
Yeah.
I was telling him like I think I've laughed out loud, and to be fair, it's more content, but I think I've laughed more out loud to My Hero than Ted Lasso. But again, like I want to poop on Ted Lasso because I think it's a good show. It just is not like I'm just not laughing out loud like I do with The Office or like any of the other shows. My Hero will ever have like a couple moments where I laugh like that's amazing. Yeah. And the animation helps too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The way they animate is
for sure
amazing.
Yeah. Did you watch anything recently, movie wise?
Well, other than the My Hero movie.
You're working your way through that right now.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
So that's been my world right now. Honestly, no. The only thing I've watched recently that was that I just like happened to watch because I was traveling this weekend was I watched Ghostbusters, the OG.
Oh.
And
Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray.
Yeah, it's honestly such a good movie, and it's really simple. It's really simple. It like reminds me of like movies were just done differently back then.
Yeah.
It was very basic. And Bill Murray is like the man. And Good Will Hunting.
Oh,
I watched those two on the way back, and they were
I watched that on the plane too.
Really?
Yeah.
Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting. That's why I was watching The Martian earlier too.
Oh,
Because I was
really?
like,
Just
oh,
Matt
you know
Damon?
what other Matt Damon shit could I watch on here?
Yeah, dude. There's still some. So I've looked into this a bit. So the cool thing about Good Will Hunting is supposedly that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon wrote it and gave it to their agent, who was able to produce it.
Yeah.
There are rumors that they didn't write it because and they stole it from like a friend that they knew, and they just kind of like took it and like pitched to their agent, and it just like blew up, and the guy was like, "Fuck me."
Wow,
what
a Hollywood story.
Yeah. Well, the reason why is because they haven't made anything together since. They haven't written anything else. Like they made like one amazing movie, and then they've never written anything since. And it's like
that's
seems
true.
a little sus that they've never written anything after their first movie. And it's not just like an okay script. Like it's an amazing script. If you're that good of a writer, presumably you're gonna write at least a couple more movies.
Right.
And they've written nothing.
They've worked together, but not on original screenplays.
Yeah. I mean, I think they were recently in that that movie that freaking bombed. That
the last
jousting
duel.
one. Yeah, the last duel with Ridley Scott.
Yeah,
which is kind of a bummer. Like,
Wait,
I
what?
thought it
It's
was
a Ridley
interesting,
Scott
but-
movie with Ben Affleck, Matt Damon,
Adam
and
Driver.
and it bombed.
and it freaking bombed.
I
Like, it
actually
was
wanted to
bad.
watch that shit because I was like, oh damn, medieval mullets, count me in.
Yeah, it looked kind of good.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of movies I still need to see. Like I still need to see Bond. I still need to see.
Oh, you
I
haven't seen
can't-
Bond yet.
I still haven't
Bro.
seen Bond. Yeah, I know. I know.
Okay.
I really got to see Bond.
It was pretty good.
I might do a double feature at some point. But
Yeah.
Traveling
Just,
this weekend.
just go in 8:00 into the theater and just like watch 4 movies at one go.
Honestly, yeah, I really do because there's just like, a lot of good stuff that's out.
Yeah. But let's do Dune this weekend. We'll circle back next week.
Dude, I'm not gonna have time to see Dune this weekend, but I want to see it so badly. I'm traveling this weekend again.
Oh, do you have HBO Max?
I do, but I really want to see it in theaters. Like
Yeah, you're right.
I've heard it's really good.
Yeah.
And I just like it's just one of those movies that I saw the trailer. I'm like, I need to see this in theaters.
Yeah,
Like,
no, you're completely right. Like so,
you should watch it, and then next week we can talk about it. Just don't do it. Maybe spoiler free.
Yeah, I've never
Maybe on
read the
Sunday
books,
I'll do it.
so
I don't
I will try not to reveal as much. But I'm excited for this weekend because of that. So, yeah. So stay tuned. We'll be back next week.
Yeah. I gotta see it. I gotta see it.
All right.
All right.
We'll chat
Signing off.
later.
Peace, guys.